you're probably ignoring your landing page, and it's costing you a lot of money. And the bottom line, as they say, is the bottom line. And all of your traffic, regardless of how you get it to your page, has to convert once it gets there, or have the best shot at converting. So I'm going to start with a couple of insults, and we'll take it from there. I guarantee after that things will get better. So first I want to just tell you that you're all ignorant and blind. Now most of you I haven't met, so I can't make that statement with any kind of degree of personal knowledge, but what I mean by that is we're all ignorant and blind. We're sitting in our cubicle or at our desk, we have our perspective on the world, but we might be interacting with a few colleagues or coworkers, or we're working by solo, but we don't really know the desires and the needs of all of those anonymous people flashing by our website or our landing page. So we're working in a bit of a vacuum, and it doesn't give you the best perspective. And then despite this, we think that we're doing everything really well, and I'm here to tell you that you're not. Your baby is ugly. Your landing page or your website has severe fundamental conversion problems, and this is costing you a lot of money. And until you get to the root cause of this, nothing's going to change. And instead of thinking, oh, my landing page is beautiful and I'm making a lot of money, I want to kind of turn that around, because this is how most of us see our marketing. We're saying, okay, I'm profitable, therefore I'm doing things right. And that kind of being fat and happy covers up a lot of sins. We're making money, so by definition we're brilliant. Well, it's just not true. So we see our web marketing this way, that here's our landing page, or here's our sign-up form registration process, e-commerce catalog, whatever the case may be. Here's our offer, and gee, look, some percentage of people are biting, so then we must be doing everything right. In reality, the way that our visitors see our web marketing is very, very different. Instead of that red carpet, they see something a little more akin to, I would say, castle walls. That's right. This is the reality check. Here's what your visitors actually have to go through in order to get to whatever it is you have. Now, there's some small, tiny percentage of people that are willing to do that under pretty much any circumstances. They've determined that what you have is unique and they want it, and unless they physically can't complete the transaction on your page, they're going to get it from you. So they'd walk on broken glass to get to what you have. But you know what? Most of us don't have that level of commitment. So I want to talk about, instead of having people scale this wall, of how to tear down the wall and how to fix the problems with your landing page. And those of you that have heard me speak before know that I'm a huge fan of really listening to the actual people that matter, and that, of course, is your website visitors. And to do that in the form of landing page testing, whether it's just a simple head-to-head so-called A/B split test or more complicated multivariate testing, that's not really the important thing. Basically, the important thing is asking people to vote with their feet or with their wallet and tell you what they prefer. So, of course, that's preferable. But I'll tell you what, in the absence of that, there's a lot that you can do to fix your landing pages, and it falls under the category of common sense. So what the focus of this presentation today is the 7 deadly sins of landing page design. These are issues that we find routinely with landing pages. And by the way, when I say landing page, it could be a standalone page, or it could be part of a microsite, or it could be a page somewhere on your main site. Anywhere where a large amount of traffic lands with you having the goal of converting it is a landing page. So we see these so frequently that we've kind of enshrined them in the pantheon as the 7 deadly sins. And I'm going to talk about them. You're probably going to recognize yourself in a few of these. At the end, after talking about these in isolation, I'm going to show you a case study which features several of them at once. And so the first of the deadly sins, and these are, by the way, in no particular order, is unclear call to action. Now, I'm going to ask these questions from the perspective of your website visitors because, again, folks, they're the only ones that matter. Your opinion doesn't matter. Their opinion and their actions are the only ones that matter. So they're going to ask themselves a series of basic questions which you should be prepared to answer. So with the call to action, the question is very basic. It's, what do you want me to do on this page? Yeah, it's not so clear sometimes. Here's an example. What do you do on this page? Well, other than think about daydreaming and sitting on that beach with a Corona in your hand, it's not exactly clear. Well, if you just wait it out for 8 or 9 seconds, this splash page will go away and you'll get taken to the home page of the Sandal World catalog. But I bet you dollars to donuts that they're probably losing 10 to 20% of their traffic right here on this so-called splash page. And it could easily have been dealt with and done away with without any kind of problem at all, but yet people insist on sticking these pages in. And this is another example. What are you supposed to do on this page? Now, you're here, you care about this webinar, you're looking at this page, but what's your first reaction? What do they really want you to do? It's not so clear, is it? Is it to call in that red text that says there, call before December 30th? Is it to look at Vanna White pointing to the laptop computer? Is it to look at those screenshots of the reports? Well, if you said any of those things, you'd be wrong. The desired call to action on this page is to actually click on that little black iPhone that says free 30-day trial. Can you believe it? Out of all of the clutter on that page, that's actually what they want you to do. And it gets worse. This is actually a pay-per-click landing page on Google AdWords. So somebody's paying to drive traffic to this page, and it's not uncommon. So when you have a landing page, it's got to have a clear purpose and a clear call to action. Now, I've been showing you examples of smaller companies, and they don't necessarily have all the resources in the world, but big companies screw this kind of stuff up royally all the time too. So let me show you another example. Much bigger company, 1-800-Flowers. I'm sure many of you have heard of it. They have a huge billion-dollar-plus business, and I think 300 million or more of that is online through their catalog. Well, folks, this is the product detail page in the catalog. In other words, if I want to hand them any of my money, I eventually have to pass through this page. So I'm going to ask you, what is the desired call to action? What do they actually want you to do on this page? And again, it's not so clear. There's a picture of the bouquet, there's a banner ad on top, there's a bright red giant rose, there's a florist smiling. But what they want you to do at the end of the day is actually to click on this light violet select delivery date button. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that it's not exactly the most obvious or intuitive thing on the page. So we did a design exercise and reworked this page. This was the new page. Now, I want to ask you quickly, what are you supposed to do on this page? I'm sure you're hopefully saying, hit the green View Delivery Dates button. It's kind of obvious. If you may be chuckling to yourselves, well, write this down because this is important. You want to always apply the obvious standard. The obvious standard. If it's not obvious, you're losing money. I'll say it again. If it's not obvious, you're probably losing a lot of money. So it's got to be this obvious, and the call to action for a page, especially if it's just a single one or a single important one, should be very, very clear. Another way to kind of demonstrate this is to use our free Attention Wizard software. And what Attention Wizard does is it predicts where people are going to look during the first few seconds of their visit on your landing page. So it's actually not eye tracking or mouse movement tracking. You basically just upload your screenshot or even a mock-up of a page that you're designing, and you instantly get back this prediction, this heat map of where attention is going to go. Now let's kind of deconstruct it a little bit. What's going on here? Well, we have some attention on the page, and this hotspot is right here on the flower, which is great because that's where you want it. That's your hero shot. That's good attention, if you will. Well, what about the rest of it? What about this part